This has been one of those moments on the PGA Tour where, as a fan, you just kind of stop for a second and go, wait, what is actually going on right now? Because in the span of just a few days, two big things happened involving one of the biggest stars in the game, and both of them hit at a really interesting time in the season. On one side, something happened during a tournament this week that honestly almost never happens with this player. Something that made a lot of fans immediately start thinking about the bigger picture, the schedule, the major championships coming up, and what this could mean for the next few weeks on tour. But at the exact same time, another piece of news dropped that has fans talking for a completely different reason. Something that looks back at one of the most emotional moments in recent golf history. And it's about to be shared with the entire world, so yeah. It's been a pretty wild moment around the PGA Tour. And if you're someone like me who watches these tournaments every week, follows the rankings, follows the storylines, you can already feel that this part of the season is starting to build towards something big. But before we break down everything that happened, if you're a real PGA Tour fan and you enjoy talking about golf like this, do me a quick favor. Hit the like button and consider subscribing. This channel is brand new. The goal right now is to reach our first 10,000 subscribers, and the idea here is simple. Just real PGA Tour fans talking about what's happening on tour every single week. So let's talk about what happened this week at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, because this was one of those moments that really made a lot of fans stop and pay attention. Everything actually looked pretty normal at first. Rory McIlroy was playing solid golf. On Friday, he shot a 4-under 68, which moved him inside the top 10 on the leaderboard heading into the weekend. Not leading the tournament, but definitely in a position where you felt like he could still make a run. And if you've watched Rory long enough, you know that when he gets into that range on the leaderboard heading into the weekend, things can get interesting really fast. But then Saturday morning came, and things suddenly changed. Rory arrived at the course getting ready for his third round, just like every other player. He started his normal warm-up routine in the gym and on the range, and that's when the problem showed up. While warming up, he felt what he described as a small twinge in his back. At first, it probably didn't seem like a huge deal. Golfers deal with little things like that all the time during a long season. But when he started hitting balls on the range, the discomfort got worse, and it turned into muscle spasms in his lower back. And at that point, he had to make a decision. About 30 minutes before his tee time, which was scheduled for 12:55 p.m. Eastern Time, Rory officially withdrew from the tournament. In his statement, he explained exactly what happened. He said, while warming up, he felt the small twinge in his back, and once he began hitting balls, it got worse and developed into those spasms. And because of that, he simply was not able to continue in the event. He also said he was really excited to compete that weekend and wished the tournament a great finish, adding that he hopes to come back next year. Now, here's the part that really surprised a lot of people. This was the first time in 13 years that Rory McIlroy has withdrawn after already teeing off in a tournament. The last time it happened was all the way back in 2013 at the Honda Classic. Think about that for a second. 13 years. That tells you how rare this situation actually is. Now, Rory also spoke with Golf Channel, and he admitted something interesting. He said he probably could have tried to play through the injury, but this is where the bigger picture comes in. Next week is one of the biggest events of the year, the Players' Championship at TPC Sawgrass. And then, just about a month from now, we have the Masters at Augusta National Golf Club. And here's the crazy part. Rory is the defending champion at both of those tournaments. So when he looked at the situation, being 9 shots back heading into the third round at Bay Hill, he made the call that honestly makes a lot of sense. He said the risk simply wasn't worth the reward. Instead of pushing through back spasms and possibly making the injury worse, he chose to withdraw, get treatment, and focus on being ready for the next huge stretch of the season. And let's be real for a second. Whenever a golfer starts dealing with back pain, fans get nervous. We've seen how tricky back injuries can be in this sport. The good news is that the plan right now is pretty clear. Rory was already planning to take Monday off, rest the back, and then arrive at Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida on Tuesday to start preparing for the players. His pre-tournament press conference is scheduled for 7:45 in the morning on Wednesday. So the hope right now is that this was just a precaution, and that he'll be ready to defend that title next week. But while all of that was happening this week, something else involving Rory also popped up that had fans talking for a completely different reason. And this second story actually looks back at one of the most emotional chapters of his entire career. And it's about to be shared with the whole world in a way we haven't seen before. Let's talk about that. Now, while everyone was reacting to what happened at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, another piece of news involving Rory McIlroy quietly started spreading around the golf world. And honestly, it's the kind of story that hits a little differently if you've followed his career for a long time. Because this one isn't about an injury, or a leaderboard, or even a tournament result. This one is about the journey. Earlier this week, Amazon announced that Amazon Prime Video will release a documentary about Rory and his long road to winning the Masters. The documentary is called Rory McIlroy, The Masters Wait. And according to the announcement, it will start streaming on March 31st. When Amazon posted the announcement, they described it in a way that really tells you what this project is about. They called it a masterpiece 35 years in the making. And if you've watched Rory's career, that description actually makes a lot of sense. Because his story with Augusta National Golf Club has been one of the most emotional storylines in modern golf. Rory first played the Masters back in 2009, and since then, he's had some incredible performances there. Over 16 starts, he has made 13 cuts, recorded 36 rounds under par, and his lowest round at Augusta is 64. He's also had multiple serious chances to win. He finished runner-up in 2022, and that week was unforgettable. In the final round, he shot a 64, and on the 18th hole, he holed out from the bunker, one of the loudest moments we've seen at Augusta in years. He's also had top 5 finishes in 2015, 2018, and 2020. But if you followed Rory long enough, you also remember the painful moments. 2011 is the one that always comes up. The week where it looked like he was going to win his first green jacket before that final round collapse. And even in 2018, there were moments where it felt like the door was open, and it just didn't happen. So when he finally won the Masters last year and completed the career Grand Slam, it wasn't just another victory. It felt like the end of a long, emotional journey. And that's exactly what this documentary is going to explore. The years of trying, the close calls, the pressure, the expectations, and finally, the moment when it all came together. Now, what makes this even more interesting is the timing. Because Rory is actually coming into this season playing really strong golf. In his first 2 PGA Tour appearances this season, he finished tied for second at the Genesis Invitational and tied for 14th at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. And those results also came with a huge financial milestone. Just last month, he earned $1.8 million, which pushed his career earnings on the PGA Tour past $110 million. That's an incredible number. But what's really interesting is what Rory himself said recently about his game. He talked about how his swing and ball striking are in a really good place right now. He mentioned that he was very happy with what he saw at Pebble Beach and Riviera, especially when it comes to strokes gained approach, which is one of the most important stats in modern golf. He also said he drove the ball really well at Riviera. But for about 27 holes, he just couldn't make a putt. And honestly, if the putter starts cooperating again, that's when Rory becomes really dangerous. But here's where everything suddenly connects again with the first story we talked about. Because now you have this huge documentary coming out about the biggest moment of his career. The season starting strong, major championships getting closer. And suddenly we're also talking about a back injury showing up right before one of the biggest stretches of the season. And that's exactly why a lot of fans right now are watching very closely to see how he shows up next week at the Players. When you look at these two stories together, it really shows how interesting this moment is for the PGA Tour. On one side, you have a player who just completed one of the most historic achievements in golf by winning the Masters and finishing the career Grand Slam. Now, there's a documentary coming out that's going to show the entire world just how long and emotional that journey really was. But at the same time, the season is moving forward, the biggest tournaments are approaching, and suddenly we see a moment where Rory has to step away from an event because of a back issue. And as fans, that combination creates a lot of anticipation. Because if he's healthy, and if his game continues looking the way it has early this season, the next few months on the PGA Tour could be really special. But now I want to hear from you guys. Do you think Rory will be fully ready for the Players next week? And are you excited to watch that Masters documentary when it drops? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I always love hearing how other golf fans see these moments. And if you enjoy following PGA Tour news like this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. PGA Tour Today is a brand new channel, and the goal right now is to reach our first 10,000 subscribers. So if you're a real PGA Tour fan who likes honest conversations about what's happening in the world of golf, subscribe and help us build this community.